Hi. In this video, we will explore the cap plate command in Fabrication Mode using the VTS Virtual Tower Structures software. Let's begin by adding a cap plate to this tower. First, select the Cap Plates command from the Tower tab. Click the Add a New Tab command here and enter the cap plate dimensions. Let's use 380 mm for the length and width, and 10 mm for the thickness. For the connector, which, in this case, is a bent plate, we also need to specify its dimensions. For this example, we'll set the length to 180, the width to 100, the height to 127, a thickness of 7, and roundings of 10 mm. For the bolts on the leg, we can specify the parameters directly in this section. We start by selecting the bolt. Then we enter the values of end and edge distances, gauge, number of bolt columns, and bolt spacing. Once everything is set, we click OK. And then, we click on the command, Generation of the Fabrication Model. Now, to create the connection between the connector and the top plate, we need to add the bolts. Let's select the Cap Plates command again. Here, we can specify the bolt parameters related to the plate. For this example, we will use the same values as we used for the leg, and then we click OK. And again, we click on the command here to generate the fabrication model. If the top plate has clips, we can define the clip size value in this section here, and we click here to generate the fabrication model. We can also add holes as needed from the Parameters panel section here. For this example, we can set the diameter at 24 mm. We'll set 2 columns with 254 mm of spacing, and 2 rows, also at 254 mm. Once all the values are entered, click OK to close the window, and then click Generate to create the model. We can repeat the process to add another group of holes. This time, we'll set the diameter to 24 mm, use 3 columns with 160 mm of spacing, and set the number of rows to 1. Once the parameters are entered, click OK to close the window, then click Generate. You'll now see the updated results displayed here. We can also add reinforcement plates in the Reinforcement Specification section. By checking this box, we enable the reinforcement settings, which then allow us to define the spacing. Let's set it here at 10 mm. We can also adjust the height, width, thickness, and steel grade as needed. Similar to the plate and leg, we can define the bolt parameters for the reinforcement here. For example, we'll specify 3 bolts with a 55 mm bolt spacing. We click OK to close the window, and then click Generate to create the model. And the result will be displayed on the screen. In many cases, we also need to add attachment holes. We can do that by adding holes from this table. Here, we'll set the hole diameter to 28 mm, and set the value here to 1 column. After that, click OK and then Generate to create the hole. If needed, we can offset the hole position by using the delta X and delta Y offset parameters. We've now completed this tutorial on the Cap Plate command in Fabrication Mode using the VTS Virtual Tower Structures software. If you need more information or have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team.